I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Sparky.
And Salty and Chip. Oh my gosh.
Murderer.
I almost knocked over Sparky. Oh.
Biddings at vinandsori@gmail.com. We've got a $20 bidder so far for the big homie Sparky.
Right.
Send him a home before he gets murdered.
If you're what's going on with shipping with that? If they're outside the U.S.
If you're outside of the U.S., you're going to have to pay for shipping. If you're inside the U.S., yes, you don't have to. We sent off a bunch of shirts, and I was like, yeah, we sent off all these shirts. $78.
I'm like, babe, people outside the U.S., it's expensive.
Yeah, but somebody in Egypt's going to be rocking our shirt.
Yeah.
You filthy capitalist.
I thought you wanted to go full-time sooner.
You filthy
rather than
capitalist. Look, you see what capitalism brought us? It brought us not being able to do like a proper Led Zeppelin review.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, look at this. This is how many times we uploaded this stupid thing. And more, but this is the one I took the picture of.
Bing! Oh, did it show how many?
Well, yeah, I show it the 3 times that we upload, because every time we tried uploading it,
Pretty sure it was 4
with this
times.
video, doing this one, not doing this, switching all these things to try to make so they would let us upload it. Finally, we had to cut all the sound, cut the video, cut everything, and just there you have it. You have to listen to it in the link. Yeah. I'm still curious to know how many people.
Did you put the link in the actual description?
I did. Eventually. If you guys want us to do more Led Zeppelin and you're definitely interested in that, even though there's no sound on it, let us know, because we could, potentially do more.
I thought the lyrics were interesting, but it's up to you guys. If you want us to blacklist Zeppelin, then, listen. I don't know. I don't know how that works. All right, this is Dimmu Borgir. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. This is from that same live performance we did before.
Okay.
So, I don't know. They set a pretty high bar last time, so let's see. Is that... When are we releasing that to everybody?
The Nightwish one?
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow?
'Cause right now it seems like just the patrons have it. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta edit it.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Ready?
Whoops, I don't know, I'm hitting the wrong thing. I was like...
Okay.
All right.
Hit play, please.
And go.
You know, I'm starting to, I think I'm starting to figure out the black metal thing, the tremolo picking.
Yeah.
You notice I've been doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I love it. Put some drums around.
Uh-huh.
I think it'd be pretty good.
It'd be unbelievable.
If only somebody would write some lyrics. And we could publish our own black metal
me?
song. They'd go into GarageBand and put some drums under that thing, and if only
so
we
true.
could publish some lyrics, and
If only.
yeah, the people want.
I know, and you love giving the people what they want.
I do. Vin and Sori black metal song, huh? Take the world by storm.
Yeah.
We'll have Dimmu do a reaction.
Yeah.
He'll say, "Oh, that." I'm not gonna say it. Somebody in the comments was like, "I guess the writing isn't as good as yours."
It wasn't.
I said, "No,
Yeah, but for what song?
no."
We're talking about. Are you not
I'm
saying what song? Yeah.
I'm not gonna say. The
He's
people
not-
in the corner. Yeah, see, you will find that I'm kind. Okay. What'd you think?
I didn't like it as much as I liked the other one.
Little disappointed that Homegirl wasn't singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was that melodic part in the like lower middle.
Yeah, I like
when
that.
The
When
monks are singing.
Yep,
so
I like that.
that's pretty good.
But they had that in the other one too. The monks are singing in the other one.
Well, they weren't singing; they were going whoa.
Yeah, they were still
not,
there.
It's different shit.
But
I wanted
yeah,
that blonde lady, the
just-
scary blonde
Yeah,
lady.
I
to show
wanted
up.
something that was gonna slap me in the face. You know, like nothing really like hit me hard on this one.
Really?
Yeah, I was
mean,
like,
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I don't know.
no, I don't think I was really a fan of it. It felt this one. When I feel the length of a song, that's a bad sign.
I didn't feel the length of the song.
I did. When I
Really?
get lost, when I get lost in it, I'm like, yes, the song is over. What? But when I'm like checking, I'm like, how much longer? And I felt the length.
How dare you?
I know.
How dare you?
Yeah. You and everyone else can
So
gang
he
up
said,
against
he said, we are the kings of the carnal creation. He said at the beginning of the
Yeah.
thing. So when he says we, I don't know if it means humankind or if he means like enlightened Satanistic people.
Yeah.
Like who are kind of you know, like they know what's really going on versus just regular people who would be like the peasants or whatever.
Oh. Okay. Are you starting from? You're not starting from the top. I'm confused.
Well,
I'm a little bit confused.
I'm thinking like thematically before
Yeah.
we go and exegete the lyrics like line by line. Just thematically, what's happening in the song is what I'm saying.
Oh. Okay.
Why? What did you have?
Like I said, like I didn't really like. I was watching it and I was like kind of taking it in, and there was parts. There was some strange instrument toward the beginning that was really interesting sounding, and I was like, oh, I'll remember that sound. I don't know if it's like or it was like something that I hadn't heard before.
Probably
So,
just a regular guitar slide.
oh, I don't know. I'll point it out to you after. Anyway, so like that part, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then I liked the part, obviously every time, like, when the shot came up of, like, there was, like, the teenager with, like, long black hair, like, to, like, here, and then he was set beside a gray-haired gentleman that, like, they just didn't look like they belonged side by side, and I like that, like, so I was like, okay, I like that. Some of it, like, there was some, when you say rising action, you mean the song is, like, rising up, right? Or do you mean just about the guitar?
I mean, it's really. I mean, it's.
When people
depends
say
on what
that.
the instrumentality. You can have rising action with drums. You can have rising action with the flute. It's
Well, the
just,
whole song had rising. Everything was rising together. Do you remember that part?
I didn't really see a lot with this.
Well, there was one
Like, the
part
most
toward the
obvious
beginning
is
where it
with
was like
corn.
rising up. I was like, oh, cool. But other than that, it wasn't really. And I don't know what the lyrics are about because I was watching and I couldn't understand it, so I didn't want to take my eyes off the screen to see those.
Yeah, this song just didn't really affect me the way that the other ones
No, I
did.
know.
Although, I think conceptually it's interesting. It's on the puritanical euphoric misanthropia, depending on what
Which part of the world you're in?
syllable you emphasize. But so it's from this record. So here we go. Incarnated marvels simplified. Effects from such a disconsolate kind. Impotence of the once so perfect living, erasing the line. So, incarnated marvels.
Simplified. Who are they?
I think it says echoes from such a disconsolate kind. Impotence of the once so perfect living. So maybe these are like fallen angels that get incarnated as men.
Okay. Erase and rewind?
Because they die and keep coming back.
Oh. Well, yeah, because it says incarnated. Yeah, you're probably right.
Marvel simplified, like obviously from an angelic perspective, to go from being an angel to a human is a simplification of the like a demotion.
Right.
They stand rigid for the next battle. Peace means reloading your guns. The love for life is all hatred in disguise. A carnival creation with masks undone.
Whoa.
That is interesting. The love for life is hatred in disguise.
That's what I was thinking. Like, what is that?
Well, it's like people kill because of their survival mechanisms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
oh,
if you love your life,
oh yeah,
and you're talking about loading up guns, it's like you're just trying.
Wow.
You're saying, oh, I'm killing this person because I love living, but it's really you're just a hateful motherfucker.
Right, because if it was your child putting you in that situation, very few of us would.
None of us.
You know,
you take,
I'm sure there are people who kill their own kids, so you can't say none of us would.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
I mean, my word, you just think everybody's nice.
But it's true. You're right. I think you're right. No, that's so true. That's a very interesting line.
Yeah.
Like we had this argument about Vikings yesterday, where you were like. Because I'm always fascinated by the way that an author can make you cheer for a bad person and cheer against a good person.
Yeah.
So it's like you have these Vikings and like they lost some battle. Do not do any spoilers.
Yeah.
But they lost this, a battle and they're going back and there's all this drama and the music and and I was just commenting on, here we are feeling sorry for these guys. They're invaded these other people's land and steal their shit.
I know.
And then you're like, well, what were you saying?
Well, that was a couple days ago. Yeah, I was saying.
It wasn't a couple days ago. It was on a walk last night.
Honey, that was last night.
You have no concept of time.
You're right, it was last night. Well, we shouldn't stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning. It screws up my head. Anyway. So anyway, I was saying, I was like, well, no, they weren't just going over there just to take stuff from them. They wanted to set up and like be able to farm and have their families and like blah, blah, blah. And
which means they're taking the people's land.
Yeah, but I said there's plenty of land there. Like, it's not like that's the only land. I mean, you can farm on, lots of land can be farmed. You just have to find the right things to farm on it. So
from a Christian's perspective, we just go and like, look at these greedy bastards, right? Like, this is sinful nature. Like, you're going to go down there and steal other people's shit. From a Darwinian perspective, you could say, look, you're as a member of the human species, you're going to want to do what's going to help to progenate your DNA profile to the next generation. And so, going into other people's land so that you can have more fertile farming is all part of the survival mechanism. So it's like the love for life is hatred in disguise because now, and then you have like the people they were invading were Christians. So it's like, oh, now obviously they hate Christians.
Yeah.
Because you have to in order to kill them and take their stuff. It's not like you can't kill somebody that you're like, well, I mean, they're neutral. You can't do that. You gotta hate the people that you kill.
Wow. So you think Rollo hates his brother and all his people?
I don't want to give away any spoilers for people who haven't, whatever.
Okay, I guess we won't have this discussion.
No. I mean, well, look, if you're talking about somebody who's a traitor, they've already made that. They've already just demonstrated that they don't have a moral dilemma. But most people have a moral dilemma with killing people. And so, like, you can't just, from a raw, pure perspective, say, I'm gonna kill that guy and take all this stuff. Like, you gotta turn it into something else for most people.
Yeah.
And so, it's these filthy Christians. Let's kill them.
Yeah.
Which actually sheds some light on. I gotta talk to some of my pagan friends here, because most of the time when you guys talk about Europe, you're only telling me one side of the story. So I want to know, is this true? Did your friends go and try to take over Christians' lands, and then you got beat up? I want to know.
You got beat up? The other thing too is, even you see from the Christians' perspective, like they call them savages and different stuff like that as a way of dehumanizing them. I think they were dehumanizing them.
I don't know about that.
Well, how could you say not?
Because they attack them unprovoked. That's savage behavior. I mean, if that's not savage behavior, what is? It's not like, you know, if you want a good... This is funny because these people were Catholic and we're Protestant, but a more apt example of that would be when your forefathers came to America and then called these people savages when they were the savages who were attacking them. So if the Native Americans... I
have Native American in me, so stop pointing at me.
Please, please. If the Native Americans were to call your ancestors savages, they'd be right. But if your ancestors called the Native American savages, you'd be wrong.
Right, true.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I understand why they would call, if this is how it went down in history, I understand why they would call the Viking savages. But the thing is like, they celebrated that shit. They loved it. Woo! You know, it's the Viking way. Let's fuck people up and rape their daughters and kill them and all that shit.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, they embrace that completely. So I'm not sure if that works on the other side. I don't believe like that there's moral equivalency. Like if you're the invader, you're the savage. And these people were defending themselves. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, we believe in nonviolence. So, like, if you defend yourself from lethal means, that's not the example of Christ.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, if I'm looking at like, okay, who are savages, then I'd say whatever. But anyway,
yeah,
the love for life is hatred in disguise. That's such an interesting line because it's like that's true in a lot, and that's a biblical. Remember, Jesus says, if you love your life in this world, you will lose it. Mm-hmm. But he who hates his life in this world will gain it.
We'll find it, yep.
Right? And so it's like, it's one of those paradoxical statements where it's like, oh, you're just being mystical or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because, like, you ask anybody, like, what does that mean? And most people have no idea what they're talking about. Like, it sounds like he's, like, being suicidal at some level.
Oh, really?
Well, if you love your life in this world, you'll lose it. But if you hate your life in this world, you'll gain it.
Yeah.
Like, what does that passage mean to you when you look at this?
Oh, well, when you look at this, yeah. No, I can see that. I think just because I grew up hearing it one way and having an understanding of it.
What was your understanding?
Well, if you love your life and you're all focused on building your own kingdom here and doing everything for yourself, you're going to essentially lose your life, not as in your physical, like you're going to die, but as in the life that continues on into eternity. You're going to lose that because you built your own kingdom and you didn't follow Christ and you didn't, but if you lose your life, because you can pursue after things in this life and set yourself up really nice and comfortably, or you can follow after Jesus' kingdom and take up your cross and follow after him. And so if you have two paths. If you choose losing your life, not as in dying, but losing the life that you would want to have to follow after Christ, that's how you actually gain your life.
You're talking about gain your life is in the afterlife.
Yeah.
See, I don't interpret it as the afterlife.
You gain eternal life, like knowing God and the afterlife. What do you think it is?
I look at it as a very because like I said, I'm not a very big afterlife person. I believe in the afterlife, but I don't think that the majority of Jesus' teaching was about the afterlife.
So what do you think it means then?
Say again?
So what do you think it means then?
Well, I think that you lose yourself as a person if I agree with the whole you're building your own kingdom or whatever, but there are things that you lose when you become obsessed with your life as it is right here.
Yeah.
And I also think there are things that you gain when you become the type of person that gives their life away to other people and other causes. So if you give your life away to another cause where you are not the center of the world, but you give it to another cause, that's when you actually find fulfillment. But if you make your life about you and whatever, then that's when you lose fulfillment because you're not big enough to you're not that much you don't carry that much existential consequence to center yourself.
Yeah.
And so obviously that.
I think it can be both, but yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think anything in this world it has some carryover, because I think my perspective on the afterlife, my ever evolving growing perspective on the afterlife, is just you just continue being who you are. Mm-hmm. So if you're like a self-centered person who's just all about your life and life in this world, mm-hmm. then when you become ever increasingly more self-centered, and that's a terrible place. That's hell.
Yep.
I think in Lewis had this book one time where it was like a description of hell, but it was like basically the person like turned inward. They were just so focused on themselves and whatever, and like they were in hell, but the guy didn't know he was in hell.
The other thing too about focusing inward is you're never satisfied.
Right.
Because you always feel like nothing's enough, because you always want more things.
Well, you always want more things, and it turns you into a hateful person. The love for life is hatred in disguise, because like, if you're the type of person who just like, everybody has an ideal of what a good life, is, but if you're that type of person, like you become really, really hateful. A carnival creation with masks undone. It looks like the creation is just like a big carnival, like a big circus, a freak show.
Yeah.
Like that's the view of the world that it was, but it's a creation, which means it didn't just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that in the universe of this song that there is like a divine being there, but he's sort of like I don't know what you call the guy who runs the carnival or whatever, but.
So when it says with masks undone, does that mean it's exposing it?
Well, in a carnival, everybody's wearing a mask, so
Yeah.
there's freak shows and things like that. It seems like he's saying that there are groups of people in the world who see through it and see the carnival of existence for what it is. Mm-hmm. And that's Thor is smashing his hammer.
There was a huge thunder out there, and all the kids started screaming.
Shout out to the big homie. In search for the guidelines to the gateways of sin. Mars of misanthropy with wrath in mind. Sophistication is cruelty and perfection is virulent truth. Confidently dawned to pick the best of enemies. An abyss wound stretched wide open, exposed to retaliate. Ooh.
Can you translate that for me, please, sir?
So, like, carnival creation with masks undone. So you see through the whole thing. Everything is just a carnival.
Yeah.
It's just the world life is a big circus. Mm-hmm. It seems like one of the themes of this record is about hatred for humankind, which is misanthropy, right? Mm-hmm. Remember that whole thing, the Puritana song or whatever?
Yeah.
That was from this record. This is the same record where they came over and just like eliminated mankind or whatever.
Yeah.
But this was a couple songs before, so it's like through mires of misanthropy with wrath in mind, like you're searching for the guidelines to the gateways of sin, like you're trying to find ways to sin more, basically. Is what it looks like.
Whoa. Okay.
Because you're looking for the guidelines to get to the gateways of sin.
Whoa. That's interesting, because it's the opposite of what we do. We're like looking for the guidelines so we don't sin.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing to me, because it's like you don't really need to search the guidelines. Like a 3-year-old doesn't need to. Where are the guidelines to disobeying my parents?
Just be bad.
Just do what you're. The basis.
Just do what you want to do.
Yeah, do what you want to do, and eventually that's the map.
People you want it the way you want it.
That's the map.
Yeah.
Because
really, yeah, just increase in selfishness and you'll be good.
Well, that's why the people like always say that human beings are good. It's like, well, then why sacrifice a virtue?
Right. Yeah.
Virtues are things that we say this is the pinnacle, this is the best of what we have as human beings. Mm-hmm. Why is that like pointed out as a virtue? Like eating is not a virtue because everybody does that naturally.
Yeah.
The sacrificing yourself for another person is an act of unselfishness, which we've elevated to a virtue. Yes. Because we all know that we're inherently selfish. Anyway.
You know what? And I'm not even sure that this can tie in, but usually can tie stuff in. You know that situation that just happened, terrible situation where there was a girl, she had parked her vehicle in the handicap parking spot, but she wasn't handicapped.
Yeah.
And her man and her son like went in to get some snacks or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this guy gets out and starts giving her a hard time for parking in the handicap spot. And then when her man comes out to like stop him like treating her that way, the guy pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Well, he pushed him.
He pushed who?
He pushed the dude on the ground.
The white guy pushed the black guy?
No, the black dude pushed the white dude on the ground and said basically, what the fuck are you doing?
Uh-huh.
And then the white
guy
dude
took
pulled the
out a
gun out and shot him.
Yeah. I feel like in those types of situations that, you know, I'm just going to say the white guy and the black guy because it's simpler in my mind. And
that's what happened.
What was going on.
No charges.
Right, exactly. The white guy, he, like, I think under normal circumstances, if he hadn't, you know, like, packed himself, I don't think that he would go and engage in that situation.
Nope.
But I feel like sometimes that when people get, you know, they've got their carry permit and now they're going out in public, they're looking for an altercation. It's like somebody that learns, you know, how to fight, and then they're looking for that altercation because they want to try shit out, you know? But, like, that's that. I don't even know how it, but it came up, it, you know, came into my mind when we were thinking about this, you know, like there's, you know, technically she shouldn't have been parked in a handicapped parking lot. I've done it a bunch of times.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how we know that. I mean, it's a 2-minute video. I don't know.
Well, I'm just assuming that because it went, according to the report, he went up and was like looking for any signs of like handicapped parking.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've done it. Sometimes you go and there's like 15 spots and nobody's in
Yeah,
any
he
of
would have
them.
left you alone though.
Well, yeah, I mean.
For sure. Well,
You know, I went after somebody one time because they were parked in a handicapped parking spot. It was a guy on a motorcycle. It didn't make any fucking sense to me. I'm like, you're riding a motorcycle. How are you driving a motorcycle if you're handicapped, right? If you can hold the friggin' bike up,
well, I mean, it could be for mental illness and all that.
then you don't need to be parked close to the building for mental illness. Why do you need that?
What's
It doesn't even apply. Anyway, I just want to finish the story because I already started it. So I was, I don't think I ever told you this. So I was like, I couldn't believe it because I felt like it was so selfish. Like it was at
So
a
you went
Rite Aid.
after him?
I did. Well, ish. I put a note that said, you know, because he wasn't around his bike. So I put the note and I like stuck it on his bike. He just happened to be coming out and I was getting back in my car. He's like, what the fuck? Did you just touch my bike? He was like freaking out. I was like, I drove my little car. I was like 16 years old, but I was like, you know, standing up for like the poor elderly people that were trying to get up. I should have said something and I should have just driven off like that, but I was a little bit scared. Anyway.
Well, shit, if it's Florida.
If what?
It's Florida. They got that stand your ground law.
What's that mean?
They didn't charge that dude.
I know.
That guy got off no charges.
I know.
Through the mires of misanthropy with wrath in mind.
But I feel like people can't like handle stuff anymore. Like, so you got pushed, but you were going after his girl. What'd you think he was gonna do?
I think, you know, it's but this is misanthropy, like hatred for humankind. With
Right.
wrath
I
in
think
mind.
that's probably what brought
Because
it
it's
up
like
in my mind.
it's like you know, obviously there are implications for me in that type of situation, and this keeps happening. You know, in Florida, and it's like I don't think that, and you know, there's a stand your ground law, which basically means if you feel intimidated and the district attorney or the police decide that you had a right to feel intimidated, you can go blow somebody away and all that.
He started the whole thing.
Of course, so what people aren't realizing is like, okay, we have a law like that. So now, so basically what you're saying is what the dude should have done, instead of pushing that guy, he should have just pulled out his weapon.
No, she should have had a gun in the car and shot the guy in the first place.
Yeah.
She felt intimidated.
Yeah, or he could say, I fear for the life of my wife, so bang, 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 and I got my little son here, so it's Florida. I can logically assume that you're going to be carrying.
Yeah.
Because obviously you wouldn't be going out of pocket like that unless you had a weapon. So that means that if I feel intimidated, I can just shoot you.
Yeah.
And does that apply to police too? If I feel intimidated by a police officer, according to Florida law, should I be able to shoot a police officer?
Wow.
Like, this is really crazy shit that we're doing in this country.
Wow.
And, like, do I have any sort of rationale for being intimidated or afraid of a police officer?
Yeah. For real.
Now, immediately people are going to go, oh, you're pulling... I'm not pulling any cards. What I'm saying is, like, you know, do we really, really want to go there? Like, do we want laws... Because what happens is, you know, hatred of mankind, it's like there's enough to where if you dwell on the news enough, you can become a very hateful person. You know what I mean? And all these news...
That's part of my problem with the cops right now.
Yeah.
I've heard too many stories. I'm so annoyed with every single one of them.
All these separate news outlets... What people don't realize is, like, all these separate news outlets have agendas.
Uh-huh.
So like Fox News,
yeah, of course.
Fox News has an agenda, and Fox News has like certain people that they want to be angry at certain other groups of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then CNN has certain groups of people that they want to be angry at other groups of people.
Right.
And like, if you can't find a way to rise above the mires of misanthropy and wrath, you're going to be an extremely angry person.
Mm-hmm. So what are they doing? They're capitalizing off people's sin nature?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
We gotta stop being so weak as a people to fall for
yeah,
this.
people are like mentally weak. That's why we talked about like the whole Trump and Russia and why Hillary lost. Like, that's why I brought it up, because people are so mentally weak that they couldn't see the nuance.
Right.
People are saying, are you saying that Russia didn't No, I didn't say that. I said was they're not solely responsible.
Right.
And it's the same with this shit. It's like, is there a line somewhere where first of all, I don't believe in. So like, if I'm out, if the situation was reversed, and it was a white lady in a car, and some black dude was like roaming around her car and like staring into her and going after her for whatever, and some you know like think logically for a minute
how that would have gone.
Okay. You know, you know, but what I'm saying is like these people. It's very easy to hate mankind because, especially in this day and age, like we're in a generation that it's more, you can fall into that trap much more easily now than you ever could be, because now,
because of social media.
Well, just you have this sort of omniscience where you can see everything. You can see all the evil shit that people do, and you can if you want to be a neo-Nazi and justify it, you can do that now. If you want to be a radical Pan-Africanist and hate white people, you can do that. If you want to hate women, you can do that. If you want to hate men, you can do that. You want to hate gay people, you can do that. You want to hate straight people, you can do that. You want to hate atheists, you can do that. You want to hate Christians, you can, like, you like, that's what people are not realizing. Like, they're so, that's why, like, you have to be careful. Like, there's some videos I won't watch. Yeah. You know, like, and we all of us have to like decide like how much you can take before you become a person who's full of wrath. Yeah. Because, you know, whatever your theology or understanding of human nature is, we're capable of some of the most fucked up shit known to man. And if you sit in front of your TV and watch this shit over and over again, you will turn into a very evil, hateful person. You will turn into the thing that you hate the most. Like, so right now, like, oh, boom, that guy got shot. He's dead. He got killed in front of his son, right? And so the first, I see it. I see in comment sections, we're like, okay, so now we're gonna get strapped and we're gonna go shoot some people. It's like, okay, so you hate that guy for shooting that guy in front of his son, and your solution is to get your concealed carry so that you can shoot somebody in front of their son. Yeah. Instead of being the person that said, I would rather die than be the person that kills. Yeah. Now you don't want to go there. Right. A lot of people don't want to go there, but that's, I think that's the way forward. I think that's the only way out. Yeah. I think the only way to stop these, the inclination toward misanthropy and with wrath is to say, I'd rather die than be that type of person. Yeah. For real. Sophistication is cruelty and perfection is violent truth. Virulent truth, sorry. Confidently dawn to pick the best of enemies. Yep. Like, that's what our media is doing right. That's why it's funny, because I wasn't even thinking about maybe subconsciously, like, if you want to pick who you want to hate, you'll find them. It's not that hard. Yeah. It's not that hard to find people to hate in this day and age because there's a lot of shit that makes people very angry here.
You know, it's not just groups of people too, it's relationships as well, because you can understand that somebody is that we're all going to make mistakes, we're all going to sin, or you can choose to look at every negative thing about that person, and that will also have an effect. You'll grow to hate someone if you just continue looking at all the negative stuff that they put out.
The more I look at these lyrics, it seems like a very veiled attack at the media. Consuming illusions made from hysteria and swallowed tongues. You know, you swallow your tongue when you're having a seizure. Yeah. So you're consuming illusions from hysteria and swallowed tongues. It's like, can you imagine?
No, I don't think that they're talking about I don't think there's a seizure. Where is that?
Swallowed tongues.
Right up there. Consuming illusions. So you're eating illusions made from hysteria swallowed tongues. Like,
and swallowed
and
tongues.
swallowed tongues. Made from hysteria and swallowed tongues. Now I'm confused. What were you saying?
I just think it's saying you are getting your understanding of reality from
Yeah.
hysterical people who are having a seizure. Like, those are the last people you should be looking at to tell you what reality is.
Yeah.
And that's the media. It's these hysterical people. Like freaking Rachel Maddow saying that this is the worst of all possible
Right.
scenarios.
Right.
My aunt died in 9/11, Rachel Maddow. This is not the worst of all possible
Right.
scenarios, believe me.
Right.
You know, a lot of other really bad. JFK was in some pretty look, nuclear winter.
Yeah.
Like he was. JFK was like, people don't know this. JFK was like 2 or 3 meetings away from a freaking all-out nuclear war.
Jeez, no.
Here comes Rachel Maddow. This is the worst of all possible scenarios. It's like ridiculous. Like, it's hysterical. But all these people are hysterical. Like, there are very, very few like moderate voices that can cut down the middle of what actual reality is.
I would agree with
And
that.
so like everybody's consuming these illusions. What's interesting is they're consuming illusions, but they are devoured by doubt. That's smart.
Yeah.
Conducting arts of misconception. Testimonial sufficiency, declaring the numbness of all
So
perceptions.
the people that are consuming all of these illusions are being overtaken by doubt.
Of course, because it's all an illusion. Because if you actually stop and listen to it, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
And then you like the people that are supposed to dictate to us what reality is.
Yeah.
Like, look at our country right now. Like, things that you just took for granted for literally thousands of years now all of a sudden are up for question. And it's like, okay, what is real anymore?
Yeah.
Like, you have a really, really hard time trying to figure out what actually, and then it makes you doubt everything.
Yeah.
You know? And that's kind of like where we are. Testimonial sufficiency, declaring numbness of all perceptions. Yeah. Good Lord. Glance into the blackness hidden beneath your surface and enjoy the suffering. Sanity drained in disrespect with such bedeviled faith in good, subsequently trusting evil. Next step for mankind will be the last seasons in sin. There it is. Bedeviled faith in good, subsequently trusting evil. Like, if you look into yourself, the blackness hidden between beneath your surface.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you're angry at that white dude for killing that guy in front of his kid.
Yeah.
And from my vantage point, it's completely unjust that guy's not even going to be charged.
Oh, I know.
So, like, what do you do with that angst?
Yeah. I know.
Well, look beneath the surface, and there's blackness in your own heart. So whatever blackness led to that guy doing that, there's blackness in your own heart. And if you, I think this is a good line. Bedeviled faith in good, it's basically your faith in good is lost. And then you begin to trust in evil, because if I really believe if people really, 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 really looked at what they're capable of internally, because there's so much shit that we never say to people. This is like this Twitter phenomenon where people like are getting waxed for shit that they said 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And really what's happening is they're being penalized, sometimes rightly so. Like a dude that was joking about like pedophilia and shit. Sorry.
No.
I don't care if you're see ya.
No.
But like, you're being penalized for saying out loud the shit that you really think.
Right.
And this is another part of like living in this time period, because before, like, you would never say that shit.
Yeah.
But there's like this false anonymity that Twitter affords you. So like, you're just doing it. You wouldn't, it's shit you would never say in like, you know, in regular company. You would say on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so like, if you look at like the blackness of like what the human soul is capable of, it's like Peterson says, like, if you were in Nazi Germany, you would have been a Nazi, statistically speaking. You would have been. Most likely you would have been. You wouldn't have been.
No.
I know for a fact that you wouldn't have been. But the majority of people would have been.
You wouldn't have either.
I wouldn't have. Well, I'd have been dead. I'm black. But I know what you're saying. Like, you would have been. So like, I think people like that really get it. To me, it's like, this is where Christianity is so helpful. because it's so on. It agrees with most of it and says, "Yeah, man, you guys really suck."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, what do you do with it? Well, don't trust evil.
Can't do that.
Well, you trust evil because it's like this is the only thing to expect.
Yeah.
Because most people are the best people that they know.
Most people are the best people they know.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's why we're so quick to judge other people and give ourselves a pass, because we all think we're pretty good people. So it's like, if the best person that you know has a black heart, then all you can do is trust evil. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Next.
Well, yeah, I think you think that that's why, you know, like you'll say a lot of times that when people accuse somebody, that's like the truest
Yeah, accusation is usually the truest form, the first form of confession.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, the next step for mankind will be the last seasons in sin. It's like, it's basically like once we all figure out how fucked up we are, then it's gonna like unleash this whole season of sin.
Whoa.
And it's like, okay, to me it's like, they're really, in my mind, there are only a couple options. It's like, okay, when you see the blackness of the human heart, it's like, okay, you need to change. But most people realize that they don't have the power to change even the basic things about themselves.
Right. Right.
So like, you can't even stick to your diet.
You rebel against your own self.
You can't even stick to your diet. Most people can't even live up to their own moral code.
Right.
So how the hell are you gonna overcome the propensity for evil that's within your pumping in your chest? So then it's like, okay, what if all of us like collectively decided, fuck it, we're just gonna be as evil as we want to be?
Yikes.
That would be the last
Season. Yeah.
seasons in sin.
Yes.
And it would be the last because we'd annihilate each other.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, I bring this up every 10 videos, but there's a reason why The Purge is a franchise, right?
Exactly.
Why is that a franchise? It's like imagine this, like, in a world where people can do whatever they want. This is a story of 4 kids who raided Walmart to feed the homeless.
Right.
How many ticket sales do you think that would generate? So why is it
I know.
that if we're all basically good and this song isn't right,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is this song is absolutely right, not telling the whole story, but right in that only death will be guarding your angels silently. Cripples joining arms in clamor, institutionalized for the rebirth. The herd will be hunted. Yikes.
The herd will be hunted. Because it's the purge.
Humankind. It's humankind. It's misanthropy. It's, you know, human beings. Like we're a herd of cattle that need to be hunted because, you know, that Puritania song where everybody got destroyed. You know.
So scroll back up to the top. Well, he's saying incarnate marble simplified. Are you sure that it's talking about higher beings and not something about people there too? Because at the end it says institutionalized for the rebirth. The herd will be hunted. So it sounds like that's the.
Well, I think it's every generation they're going to kill humankind because in 2 songs later it's Puritania where they're able to execute all of humanity.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like if you were an angel, it's basically like if you're an angel and from every time period you're able to wipe out large swaths of humanity.
Yeah.
Like that's basically the idea.
Yeah.
And you just keep getting to do it over and over again because we're never going to learn the lesson. You know? Because we're so easily triggered and we can't think with nuance.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing more easily manipulated than the human mind. It's so easy. They're especially the current modern iteration of the human mind because we're not taught to think with nuance anymore. It's like it's either or. Nobody realizes the both and-ness of the universe. It's like, you know, we are infinitely valuable and we are incredibly evil simultaneously. Yep. You're in the image of God and you do the works of Satan simultaneously. Like,
yep.
We're made a little lower than the angels, the Bible says, and we act like devils simultaneously. Like, these are, you know, we're not taught to think in paradox anymore. So we're so easily able to be manipulated. It's insane.
Yeah, it's hard to, like, when you're not used to thinking in paradox, like, it's hard to get your mind back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Because it was like, help us. And you were just like, yeah.
Well, I think there are very few things that are either or in this world, or black and white. And so, like, I just think in any pronouncement that you make, say, is it possible that it's both and?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so you see when you see a left wing and a right wing person arguing, maybe there's a both and there. Mm-hmm. You see a religious person and an atheist arguing, maybe there's a both and. Mm-hmm. I don't think that all atheists are completely wrong on everything they say.
Nor do we think all Christians are right on everything they say.
No, well, I mean, we think they're mostly wrong. But that's our team.
Yeah.
So, like, we are, because
I think the Bible's right.
Because we grew up around our team, we know where all the flaws are.
Right. Right.
You know? But our faith is big enough to handle that type of contradiction, whereas atheists don't seem to be able to handle that within their own team. So they're not very good at self-criticism. Mm-hmm. They're just not.
Yeah.
Just not.
Yeah.
Some of it has to do with the fact that many of the atheists that we've hung out with, I just think there's a whole history to atheism in the Western world, particularly.
Yeah.
That they would do well to read and understand, because it
inform themselves.
It would give them a broader understanding of the worldview they're subscribing to. So.
I agree.
Anyway, what do you give the song?
6.
I was going to give the song a 6, but because of its unbelievable relevance lyrically to human, I'll tell you what, these black metal people, man, they know how to write their asses off. And they know human nature. Like, okay, I don't think it's healthy to dwell on the evils of human nature, but because we don't talk about it.
Yep.
You know, like, that's why, like, people don't realize, like, that's why the Bible's so raw on the evil shit that it talks about. Oh, this dude slept with his daughters. Right. Like, it's like the God saying, hello, I've been trying to tell you guys that you're fucked up. Here's Exhibit A. Okay, here's Exhibit Z.
Yep.
You know, this dude stabbed this guy while he was asleep. How's that? You know what I mean? Like, so, like, because in modern parlance now, we're not talking about, like, the evils of human nature.
Yep.
These guys are like, I don't think people are understanding, Christian or otherwise, how important it is that they say things like this.
I agree.
That you dwell on the lyrics and have that discussion, and like a lot of it is looking into yourself to see your own evil, right? Like when it's talking about like glance into the blackness hidden beneath your surface, like that's important. That is a existentially important moment when you can do that. And I don't think people understand how valuable some of the stuff that these guys are saying are. Now, here's the thing where I think that they diverge, although this one I'm not sure that they do that. But a lot of times they say, look into the blackness, and then they say, celebrate it.
Yeah.
That is where I go,
right.
But I think they're saying celebrate it because basically, what's the solution?
Yeah.
If you can't overcome that darkness, then you don't want to have an entire fight for the rest of your life against your own darkness, so they're going to celebrate it.
Well, yeah.
And our solution is to say, well, fight like hell. Yeah. Because if you embrace the darkness within yourself, then you're going to get encapsulated in that darkness, and that's hell. And if you believe in an afterlife, that you're not going to escape yourself. And you're going to spiral deeper and deeper into yourself, into hell forever. Yeah. Right? So I don't think that should be celebrated. It should be acknowledged and looked at square in the face, but not celebrated. Yep. There is a solution. Most of us just don't want it. Okay, what do you give this song a 6?
6.
8.5. 8.5 for the lyrical content. Yeah. Show is a little bit weak to me. Yeah. Show is a little bit weak. Singer was kind of walking around, kind of above it all. I don't like that. I like the singer rocking and feeling the music. Yeah. I don't like the singer, just walking around like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. I like when the singer is in the music. You're the leader of the band, man. Yeah. But the guitarist was cool. All right, Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.